So the male feminists at the menslib subreddit are beginning to crack. And actually, they've been cracking for some time now. But there's a very interesting thread, which I'm going to discuss in a little bit, that shows how they're beginning to realize the truth that feminism doesn't really help men and that they might be on the wrong side. I'm sorry for the quality. My $2,000 laptop caught fire, so I'm using a backup. But let's see what I'm talking about, because this is something that MRAs have known was going to happen for a long time. So, if you don't know, Men's Lib stands for Men's Liberation. They're a pro feminist server, and they claim that they are representing men's issues and male issues in the same way that MRAs do, except they say that the men's rights movement is misogynistic, and so you have to address men's issues from a feminist perspective. And this often causes a lot of mental conundrums for them. And they're beginning to run into the fact that feminism doesn't actually help men at all. And the thread we're looking at is this one here. The title: Men Need a New Narrative. The Future of US Democracy Depends on It. To counter harmful right wing ideas of masculinity, the left must provide men with less cartoonish and more expansive models of strength and moral selfhood. All right, here's the first answer we're looking at, and look at the first line that they say, the first sentence. I'm frustrated by this article, and I can't really put my finger on what especially frustrates me about it. And that's exactly how I imagine it must feel like to be a male feminist. They're frustrated by the things that they keep seeing other feminists say and do. The reason why it's frustrating for you and you can't put your finger on it is because the feminist movement, the modern day feminist movement, at least the organized feminism, isn't helping men. In fact, it's misandristic, it's anti men, it's sexist against men. And you read these articles that are sexist against men, and your brain realizes, wait a minute, this isn't right. This is hateful towards me. I'm being treated as lesser. I'm being treated as the enemy here. That's not supposed to be how it is. I'm not the enemy. I'm trying to help. I'm supposed to be an ally. Why? But the thing is, they don't see you as an ally. But let's continue the comment. I think the language that seemingly descenders men in an issue facing men is frustrating and is the article at a service. To that end, the last paragraph, and now he's quoting from the article, this isn't a call for special treatment for a group, specifically white men, who already command a disproportionate share of attention in politics and media. It's a call to do what's necessary for the continued health and vitality of our troubled and teetering democracy. That's the end of the quote from the article. Then the commenter continues: profoundly frustrated me. You've just finished telling me that a systemic collapse in masculinity is a threat to democratic norms and institutions, but that isn't worth any call for special attention. At what point are we to think that the left is going to think that issues affecting men are worth consideration as something that might possibly merit special treatment? Now, to make a note here, this article they're talking about in this thread makes this much more right versus left than I like. I've always said the men's rights movement is not a right wing movement. The reason why we get lumped in the right is because feminism is mostly lumped in with the left. And so it kind of makes this divide here. But these guys are beginning to realize they always thought that the left represented equality. And I'm not going to tell you that the right or the left is worse or better. I don't really like either one of them. But what I think this is feminism in disguise. And they're seeing this as a left versus right thing. But I think subconsciously, and maybe even consciously, and they're just not admitting it, they are beginning to recognize that feminism is not a movement for equality. And they are facing discrimination and hatred for being men, as this next comment kind of suggests. This is what is hard for me too. While I'm very much a bleeding heart liberal, the rhetoric regarding men on the left doesn't exactly make me feel welcomed, even though I do my damnedest to be an ally. While I don't at all agree with the teaching of the right wing male figureheads, I get why many young men find their rhetoric attractive, with its pseudo empowering narrative. It's crazy to hear more empathy for men coming from the likes of Jordan Peterson than pretty any figurehead on the left. I think pretty much any figure on the left. In fact, who even is an equivalent male figurehead for the left? It's sad the only one that comes to mind is Mr. Rogers. The right doesn't frame men as being dangerous psychopaths like much of the discourse on the left does. I've personally felt completely alienated from leftist spaces multiple times simply because I'm a white male. It really sucks being judged before a single word even comes out of your mouth. So, yes, the left really needs a better way to frame these issues that isn't demonizing, ostracizing men, especially when it comes to younger, more impressionable men. I also feel like I need to point out once more that I don't agree from the teachings coming from any of these conservative male role models, but I am interested in finding out why their methodology works. Well, I don't agree with Andrew Tate either, but the reason why it works is because you just said it. You're demonized and ostracized just for being a man. Just for being male, you are told that you are wrong and you are bad. You're judged before you even say a word. It's a sexist movement. It's a sexist ideology. It's a hateful movement. It's a hateful ideology. And the people they hate is you because you are male. Now, first of all, I wouldn't put Jordan Peterson in the same category as Andrew Tate, but I wouldn't really recommend either of them as figureheads. I would say look at the moderate men's rights movement. Look at MRAs. Look at us. We've been saying this kind of thing for years. And we've also been saying, and I've been saying on this channel, it's only a matter of time before male feminists realize that something isn't quite right. And that's what's happening right now. Anyway, I'm Blue Orange 22. Thanks for watching. Oh, and I do want to leave you with one very interesting quote from the article. Feminists say that misandry was never a thing, but take a look at this. And I put the link below so you can read it yourself. Why the reluctance? The mid 2010s were the high watermark of anti male sentiment in progressive spaces, Ember wrote. As the Me Too movement wrote, I mean, let's read that. Let's do that one more time. The mid 2010s were the high watermark of anti male sentiment in progressive spaces. So you're saying there was anti male sentiment in progressive spaces, but we'll go on. Remember, as the Me Too movement rose, with its tales of horrendous male behavior and ensuing corporate cover ups, ban men became a rallying cry. The word masculinity seemed to rarely appear without the descriptor toxic accompanying it, blamed for everything from rape culture to climate change. Even today, some progressives react touchily to any efforts to help men as a group. Even today, some progressives react touchily to any efforts to help men as a group. Yes, we know. That's why we choose to be men's rights activists, not progressives. And we want to help everybody, unlike you. No offense, that's how it is. Anyway, I'm Blue Orange 22. Thanks for watching.